Wesley Gould was born into a Christian home in Portadown, Northern Ireland on the 22nd of November 1920. He trusted Christ as a young man at a gospel mission in the town, and that conversion changed the whole course of his life. God challenged him about the need of the lost in distant lands. After training at Belfast Bible College and the Missionary School of Medicine in London, Wesley was accepted by the Unevangelized Fields Mission for service in Brazil and sailed to South America as a single man on the 31st of December 1948. Following his language study at the mission base in Belém, Wesley was sent to work with Mr. and Mrs. Thomas in Santa Inês in Maranhão. He continued there for 2 years and afterwards was sent to work in Altamira, Pará, on the river Xingu. His work there was amongst Brazilians and indigenous Indians. In 1952, Wesley returned to Northern Ireland for furlough and deputation meetings. Before returning to Brazil, he married Winnie Dundas, who was from County Fermanagh. Their marriage bond was made for the furtherance of the gospel and would last for 64 years. Winnie, a qualified nurse and midwife, sailed to Brazil with Wesley in 1953. The couple were sent to open a new work in the small town of Piracuruca. Soon after their arrival there, they bought a house strategically located in the center of the town. They started immediately into the work of evangelism, but faced a lot of resistance and opposition from the local priests. They conducted meetings in their home. Winnie used her nursing and midwifery skills to help the local population, while Wesley extracted teeth in the absence of any doctor or dentist in Piracuruca. Little by little, the suspicions diminished, and they gained respect and acceptance from the town's authorities. The people began to attend the meetings, even though it would be 4 years before they had their first convert. During those same years, Wesley and Winnie also traveled to surrounding villages, singing and preaching the gospel in the open air. In 1962, Wesley started to build the first evangelical church structure in Piracuruca. 1 year later, on the 28th of June 1963, the new church building was completed and the Evangelical Christian Church of Piracuruca was founded. It was also in 1962 that Wesley baptized 12 new converts in the village of Batalha. That was the beginning of a new church in that village. John Sessoms and Edmund Norwood, also missionaries of UFM, helped in the outreach to Batalha, and there were many wonderful conversions in that place. Whole families were transformed, and several young men from Batalha went into full-time Christian work and are still serving God in Brazil. Amongst these converts was a young man by the name of Lucy Marr. He was initially opposed to the gospel and was at the forefront of the demonstrations against the missionaries. However, Lucy Marr was saved by the grace of God and called into Christian work. Today he is a pastor, a journalist, and a broadcaster, exercising a great ministry all over Brazil. In 1967, Wesley and Winnie were asked to go to Dom Pedro in Maranhão to pioneer a new gospel work. They followed the same pattern as they had implemented in Piracuruca, patiently preaching the gospel in the town and reaching to the surrounding villages with the message of the gospel. God blessed this work, and within a few years a good church was established in Dom Pedro. From there they went to Teresina, where they established another evangelical church in the district of Buenos Aires. When Wesley and Winnie returned to Portadown in 1978, they continued in the work of the gospel. They were able to visit Brazil on another 2 occasions, and until the Lord called Wesley home, he was constantly in contact with his friends in Brazil, and they were always in his prayers. On the 28th of June 2017, Wesley Gould answered God's call to higher service. Revelation 14:13 says, "And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Write, Blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labours, and their works do follow them." Of Wesley Gould we answer and say, Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints.